right, Tonka, I want to take you on a tour of one of my favorite spots here in St. Augustine, over here at the fort. And I know you love walking around it, but I want to tell you a little bit of the history of it as well. I know you just heard that trolley driver telling his guests some of the history, but let's go on a little tour ourselves. Ah, yeah, you're my best friend, man. I love you, Tonka. I want you to learn so much about this city. You've lived here for a long time, but it's time for you to start learning about some of this stuff. Yeah, smart dogs. You're a good boy. Smart dogs get a lot of attention on social media. Let's see what you're gonna do, okay? All right, here we go. Just gotta wait for this trolley to pull out. We're gonna walk over here by Matanzas Bay. Yeah, there's another name for this bay. The Bay of the Dancing Dolphins. We'll see if we can find some dolphins a little bit later, Tonka. All right, here we go. Get ready, buddy. I know you're always ready to go. This is going to be so much fun, Tonka. So many people here. There's over 1 million visitors a year that come and visit the Castillo de San Marcos. A lot of them bring their dogs with them. This is a great spot to walk around with their dogs. Let's see if we can find some friends for you over here. Yeah, Tonka, do you remember back in 2022 when Hurricane Ian and Nicole came through here? That pushed all the salt water up here and killed off all that grass that you like to roll in. We'll have to see if we can find some grass for you to roll in a little bit. Yeah, you love walking up this hill. This hill was built when they dug out all of the dirt for the moat. That's the very first thing that they did when building this fort. Dig out all the dirt for the moat and create this big hill. It's called the Glacius. No, not like Julio. Yep, some of your friends have been here. Did they leave you a message? This is a seawall. It's filled with oyster shells, a substance called tabby. That's a man-made substance. The fort is made out of coquina. That's a naturally formed rock. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So when the Spanish built this fort, they didn't build the moat to hold water. This was actually a dry moat to keep their livestock animals in, their cows, their chickens, their pigs and goats. That provided food for the soldiers and their families if the city was being attacked. Sometimes a siege could last for 40 or 50 days. So they had to make sure that they had enough food to feed all of the citizens of the city. So we're walking in the dry moat now, Tonka. Well, it was a dry moat. Come on, buddy. I want to show you all around this place. We're going to have a ball. So this was one of 2 drawbridges. This one is a lightweight drawbridge. It can be closed very quickly. The main drawbridge going into the Castillo de San Marcos weighs over 2,000 pounds, and that would take 20 minutes to close. Wow, what a beautiful afternoon. So this structure that you're looking at now, Tonka, this is known as the ravelin. The ravelin was built to protect the weakest spot of this fort, and that was that drawbridge. With it weighing 2,000 pounds and taking 20 minutes to close, the Spanish wanted to hide the entrance. By building the ravelin here, their enemy could not tell if the entrance was on the north, the south, the east, or the west side of the fort. So they had to walk all the way around the fort, just like we're doing today. Well, the enemy would have been seen by the Spanish long before they made it all the way around the fort. and shot by the cannons or by their muskets. Yeah, a cannonball hitting you would have caused a lot of damage, probably killed you. Time to stop and smell the roses. St. Augustine is a very pet-friendly town, so if you decide to bring your four-legged friend with you, there are plenty of spots for them to get water, plenty of spots to go and walk them around, and even many of the attractions here are pet-friendly as well. Tonka, this fort has been standing here for 350 years. Yes, that's right. That's 2,450 years in dog years. You're really doing good at your math. Has your daddy been sending you to the oldest wooden schoolhouse to learn arithmetic? Look at that sunset. Wow, it is amazing. Oh, there's a couple of your YouTube fans right over there. Let's go see if they're subscribed to the channel. Yeah, they're big fans of Tonka. Yeah, they sure are. You're such a good boy, buddy. Oh, doesn't that feel good? All right, let's get on the move. Yeah, Tonka, as I was telling you earlier, this fort is made out of coquina. Coquina is a naturally formed rock. You know those little shells that we see when we're over there playing at the beach? They're on the sand, and all of a sudden they dig down in the sand and then they're gone? That's what forms a coquina. Let's go take a closer look at it. So the tiny shells, they settle down at the bottom of the ocean floor, and after hundreds and hundreds of years, that pressure forms them into a rock. Well, they found that rock over on Anastasia Island, and they used it to build this fort out of. Prior to building this fort, they built 9 other forts that were all made out of wood. Look at the coquina. Kind of looks like your oatmeal treats. Yeah, I know, you love those, don't you? So prior to building this fort, they built 9 other forts out of wood. Imagine all the sticks that they had when they cut down all the trees over on Anastasia Island and used them to build the fort. They not only built the fort out of those palm logs, but they also built a wall going around the city, and that's called the Kubo line. That protected the northern boundary of the city and the city gate that we walk through all the time. Yeah, I know you love the city gate, because that takes us on to St. George Street, where you'll find all of the ice cream and fudge and chocolate shops and candy shops and all the great restaurants and this is just such an amazing structure. So after Robert Searle's raid in 1668, the Queen decided it was time to build a stone fortress. So they started digging up the coquina over on Anastasia Island, and they floated it across that waterway that we looked at earlier, Matanzas Bay. And down where the parking lot is, where we started this tour, Tonka, that's where they laid out the blocks in the sun to dry out for over a year before they could use them to build this fort. And for the next 23 years, they did that. They shaped the blocks in the different shapes and sizes that they needed, and then carried them up here. Oh, I know, you need a break to roll around. Remember, this is where the cows and chickens were. I hope it's clean for you. I know, we have to take a little break from the education once in a while. Can't all be about hard work. Gotta have a little fun, right? You're such a good boy, Tonka. This is such a beautiful city. Isn't it great living here? All right, let's continue on the tour, Tonka. So they spent 23 years shaping the blocks in different shapes and sizes that they needed, stacking them up, and then the mortar that held them together was made with oyster shells, lime, sand, and water. And after they completed the fort, they covered it with a plaster made with that same material, because coquina has a lot of tiny spaces in between the shells. So when it would rain outside, I know you don't like going out in the rain. Well, when it would rain outside, water would begin trickling down between the shells and the coquina. It could be nice and sunny like it is today, but raining inside the rooms of the fort 3 days after a storm. So they had to come up with a way to weatherproof the fort. So they covered over the entire inside and the outside walls of the fort with white plaster. As we're walking around, you're going to see some of those patches of the white plaster on the outside of the fort that still remain today, 350 years later. Such an amazing structure. So many visitors that come and see the Castillo de San Marcos. And the best part of it is, it's free to walk around the outside. Now, if you want to go inside, there are ways to get in free. There are certain days of the year that it's free. There are passes that you can get if you're a military veteran, if you're over 62, if you have a fourth grader. There is a national parks pass that you can get as a fourth grader that will get you into every park in the country, you and your family, so that you can go around and show them around. Oh, let's go over here to the hot shot furnace. I want to talk to you about the hot shot furnace where they put the cannonballs. I know, you want to go up and walk on the seawall. We'll do that later. Right now, I want to talk to you about this structure. So this wall here took a lot of hits with cannonballs. When cannonballs would hit the walls of the fort, they either bounce off or they just sink down into the walls a little bit. Then at night, the Spanish would bring their ladders out here into the dry, grassy moat, climb up there and dig those cannonballs out, cut a new piece of coquina, patch that hole, and then cover it over with that white plaster that we just talked about. That's right, it never got used. So this was not used by the Spanish. This was put in during the Civil War. The idea was to set wooden ships on fire by firing a hot cannonball at them. The problem was, during the Civil War, we had stopped using wooden ships and started using metal ships. So it was kind of outdated technology at the time. You're making so many new friends. Hopefully they'll like and subscribe so they can see your next adventure. Come on, we've got a lot more to learn. Somebody leave you a message there too? Yeah, Tonka, this fort contains over 400,000 blocks of coquina. I think that's how many times you stopped and smelled the blades of grass today. Wow, what a beautiful sunset, buddy. We are so lucky to live here in this town. I hope some of your new friends will bring their friends and walk around the town with us. Maybe take a tour with us. Come on, buddy. We've got to get going. A soldier's work is never done. All right, you ready to go back home? You lead the way. Wow, Tonka, I want to thank you for such an amazing day. You showed me a few new things today. It was great experiencing this sunset with you, bud. Let's go get a treat. Will you share one of your treats with me? Hope you've enjoyed your visit to the Castillo de San Marcos. I'm touring with Tonka.